Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hello, 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 Fearless Freedom Tribe. It's Dr. G, and we are back for another LIVE episode of the podcast. And today's guest is Dr. Jarita. And Dr. Jarita is going to tell you all about who she is and all of the amazing things that she is up to.
You ready for me?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell them.
Okay.
Tell them who you are, what you're up to, and all the awesome stuff you're doing.
I'm Dr. Jarita, and I'm a family practice doctor and foodie, and I'm an author of MD Dreams, Practical Advice for Every Stage from Pre-Med to Residency and Beyond, and author of the Good Food Now cookbook. And I will soon be a practice owner of Zion Family Practice in Washington, D.C.
Awesome. So you have MD Dreams, you have Good Food Now cookbook, you are going to have a practice very shortly. That is amazing. That's amazing. So that's a lot. That's a lot going on. So now you have to tell people more about how you got there.
Okay.
So how did you get to where you're doing all these amazing things? You wrote 2 books, not just 1 book, but 2 books. You are so into like food and such that you are now passing on that amazing knowledge through the book, but also you do a lot of things on your social media, because I see that you stream, how, to make recipes, and you talk about the benefits of food and all that. So spill the tea. Let us hear all about that. Like, how did that come about?
Okay. So when I left residency, I went to New Orleans for like a loan repayment program. And I was working at a traditional clinic, but it wasn't really like what I signed up for medicine. I really was into like community health type of things. And there was a clinic around the corner from me who was doing all of that. Like, this clinic was amazing. They had a community garden. They had cooking classes, acupuncturists, herbalists, the whole thing. Long story short, I worked at the traditional family practice for like 2 years. And then a whole bunch of things started turning over in the administration. And I ended up leaving there and going to the ideal practice around the corner. And that's where I really...
That's like very convenient around the corner. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I really started getting into kind of the granola type medicine, like herbs and gardening and acupuncture and healthy food and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So now, so now you discovered this and you're really into it. Now, did you have to do like an apprenticeship where you learned more about how that is going to be implemented into your practice? Or was it more that you just kind of picked up these things along the way as you were seeing patients and as you were, interacting with your colleagues in the practice? How did that go down?
So I learned a lot from the people that I was working with, especially the herbalists. And then at this point, I'm in my 30s. So I'm starting to develop my own medical problems, high blood pressure, acid reflux, anemia. And I'm looking for a way to like address these things naturally.
Gotcha.
And then I'm learning from the herbalists because I'm going to them as a patient and they're telling me the things that I need to eliminate in my diet and the things that I need to add, like eliminating certain type of starches and repopulating my gut with fermented foods and things like that. So that's where I really learned a lot from working with what they call alternative medicine. It's not really alternative medicine. I think it's complementary medicine.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. It's definitely complimentary because I'm from Jamaica, and basically like we do all kind of stuff with herbs, right? So, it's like all about, my daughter's telling me she's going outside. She wrote me a little note on a whiteboard. It's snowing outside, by the way. Like, no, it snowed last night. And so it's frigid out there. Charmaine, I'm not trying to be out there. These kids, they're like, oh, let's go make some snow angels in the like 1 inch of snow, and let's go sled in like 1 inch of snow. It's so funny. So yeah, in Jamaica, basically like we do use herbs quite a bit. So, we have herbs for aphrodisiacs. We have herbs for, fever. Like I literally remember getting the measles. I don't even know why I even got the measles, because I did get immunized. But anyway, I remember getting the measles. It must have been a very mild form of it. I remember getting the thing, and I remember them putting me in a tub with like warm water and then tamarind, tamarind, that fruit.
Okay.
It's like looks like peas in a pod, but it's like surrounded by flesh. It's really good. I love that stuff. And so they took tamarind leaves, and they like would smoke the tamarind leaves and put that in the water with me. And then that would like help with the measles. And I'm like, how do you even figure that out? I don't know how to figure that out.
These things really work. Like they made me a believer.
But they do.
Shout out to Amy and Rachel at the Maypop Herb Shop in New Orleans, because they're the ones that really put me on to all of this.
Oh, awesome. Shout out to them. Shout out to you guys. Because I mean, really, like, but then if you think about it, a lot of the things that we now look at as medicines, like the things that come in pill form or capsule form that are in the bottle, they found their origins from a plant or from a flower or from something in the natural world. But then, maybe there's some like bond that has been rerouted or something like that, or some way the synthesis of it has been changed to develop the drug. But the derivative is something natural. So, I mean, I don't know. It kind of gives you also like a new appreciation for the weeds that grow in your garden. Like, for example, the dandelions that grow in the garden. I'm like, oh, they're so unsightly in the garden. But I understand that there is benefit from dandelion tea, right? Because it lowers your blood pressure and, all the things. But it's just like, wow, how did, like, who figured that out? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I still use one of the tinctures that they make. Every time I go to New Orleans, I buy some more. They make a tincture called Ain't Got Time to Be Sick. And one of their key ingredients is echinacea.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that will knock out anything. 2 droppers full of that, and anything that's trying to make you sick will run out of your body.
Wow. Yeah, that's so fun. Yeah, no. So, but I love how you say that it is complementary, right? Like it's complementary. Like we get it. Like we're not going to say that the cure for cancer is herbs, right? Nobody's going to say that, like, because we know that's not true. But you can use herbs to help you to overcome the symptoms maybe of what you're dealing with as you go through your chemotherapy or as you go through radiation therapy. Like it is complementary. So I love that. I love that you say that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And then the food, there were nutritionists working with us as well. So I would kind of sit in on some of the classes that they were having with patients, and they kind of introduced things to me that I wasn't used to doing, like eating vegetables at breakfast. So now I put spinach in my eggs and spinach in my grits. It's not something that I was doing before I met them.
Right. No, that's good. And so what did they say was the advantage? So this is so that we can all learn. So what did they say is the advantage of having vegetables with breakfast?
What you're really trying to do is just up your fruit and vegetable content. So you're just trying to have some sort of green at every meal. And the reason why I'm using spinach is for anemia, because the spinach has that iron content.
Iron. Yes, iron. Hi, Dr. Soiner. Thanks for joining. She joined from Facebook, and she says that we are 2 of her favorite ladies.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, no, totally. Because I remember when I was one of the pregnancies, I was like I'm like, I guess I don't know why, but I'm anemic just from jump. And then I got even more anemic with each pregnancy. And so basically I remember going and like stuffing my face with a whole bunch of spinach. And I think broccoli has a lot of iron in it too, doesn't it? Doesn't broccoli have a lot of iron? There's like one of the vegetables where I was like surprised. Oh, beets. Oh, well, I'm not gonna be doing the beets.
I hate beets, but I mix them with a whole bunch of other fruits, like blend them into a smoothie with some berries and some honey to make them not taste like dirt.
Well, my mom loves beets. She will just like have a little bowl of beets. I'm like, that's good. That's nice. But that's not me. I just can't do it. Now, I will say that I have used beets for coloring, like for food coloring. So like to make icing, like to make natural icing, or to, color something else, like a cupcake or something like that. I have used beets for that. Because you don't really get the that taste, and you still have the nourishment from it, and the color or whatever. But it's not the same as eating it. That's eating beets. There are many things too. Okay, my son is like giving me messages. I'm not quite sure why he's doing that. When he sees that I'm doing a live broadcast, right? He sees me here doing it, talking to you. Can this wait? Okay, fantastic. Thanks. This is life, people. This is life. Okay. Keeping it real. But yeah, no, the beet thing, I can't get down with it. There aren't very many vegetables and fruit that I don't eat. Beets in its raw form is just not for me, but I will have it in cooked foods, right? So if it's integrated in there, I can eat it. Then the other one that I don't like is something called sosumba. I don't know what it's called here, but it's called sosumba in the Caribbean. And I just can't get down with that one. And I cannot get down with, even though my mom loves it to death and loves it on her fish, but okra, can't get down with okra. The okra. I think it must be a consistency thing for me. And I didn't think I was like a texture person, but like for some reason, it's
a slime.
I just can't, it's too slimy. I'm like, I just can't do it. And so, but I eat everything else, I'm pretty like open to try new things, but those three things, I'm just like, not really. I guess suppose if my life depended on it, I could eat them, but I would not enjoy it. I wouldn't enjoy it.
I can do the okra in gumbo. I've had some gumbo in New Orleans where the okra wasn't slimy.
Okay. But maybe I just need to have it in another format. But the format that we normally eat it in, which is like steamed fish or whatever, I just can't do it. Can't do it. I prefer not to, I say. I guess it's not that I can't, because obviously I physically can, but I prefer not to. Yeah. There's so many others out there that I can eat that I think I will work with that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. But New Orleans is just so known for the cuisine. Like every time that we go there, it's just like, we're enamored with just all of the variety of foods that are there. And the food is just all so good. It's just so delicious.
Yeah, I already have my food picked out when I get ready to go back. I'm like, I need to go to Johnny's and get my po' boy. I need to go over here and get my pralines and chocolate. Like I have a whole little eating tour set up.
Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. I think the last time that my husband and I were there, we actually went to a, was it a vegan restaurant? There was a vegan restaurant down there. And I was like really surprised, but the food was really good. It was good.
Yeah, there's all kind of stuff that you can imagine. There's Vietnamese cuisine is big down there, things that you wouldn't think.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, nice variety is good. It is really good. So, you talk about, we're talking about food, and I love talking about food because food is just so awesome, right? And then, we talk about how you can get the nourishment that you need from your food. So like just that simple tip that you shared is really amazing, because you're saying, hey, something as small as adding vegetables to your breakfast, like to your eggs, so what is that called? Is that like a frittata or something when you mix in the veggies with the eggs? You
Most
know,
of them I do just a scramble because that's
scramble.
faster than
Okay.
doing the frittata. The frittata you have to bake, and nobody's
Gotcha.
down
All
for
right. That's
that.
a lot of work. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Yeah, yeah. A lot of work. So, okay. So that's one way. What are some other ways that you can incorporate vegetables if you're not doing eggs? Like, can you do it like can you just do like a vegetable, stir fry or something for breakfast or
Yeah, we've done that before where we do kind of a spinach and mushroom and onions and red bell peppers and just kind of saute that together with some olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder. And that turns
nice.
out really well too.
Nice. That sounds so good too. Yeah. Yum, 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 yum. Awesome. And then, so do you have other pearls for people to like incorporate that will help them to increase their fruit and vegetable intake?
So another thing that you can do is smoothies. Most of the time, if you sneak a vegetable into there with a whole bunch of other fruits, you're not going to necessarily taste the vegetable. Like you could do a spinach and pineapple and banana smoothie with some
Okay.
water, and you don't taste the spinach. Like it doesn't
Hmm.
end up tasting like grass. It tastes like a fruit smoothie. It's green.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It looks like a vegetable smoothie, but it tastes really sweet, like you were having
Okay.
a fruit smoothie.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Neat. And so these are all things that somebody were to go and read your book, Good Food Now, they would get an expansion on this. Is that about right? Or
They'll get an expansion on that, and then the audience for Good Food Now is busy professional women. Trying
okay.
to help busy professional women kind of eat a little bit healthier, but they need to make it fast. They may not have time to make a frittata,
Sure.
or if
Sure.
they do, they need to make it in like a casserole dish so that people who are eating at different times in the family can kind of heat it up while you go to work.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. You know
Mhm.
what? You know what someone I knew used to do? They used to take like muffin pans and like make a whole bunch of those, like little egg cups, egg
Yeah.
vegetable cups. And then they
Mhm.
would like put that and they'd have them and they just like pop them in the microwave and that's breakfast.
Yeah.
So it's like breakfast on the go. That's
Mhm.
cool. That's really cool. Neat.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Just
then so
stuff everything in.
oh yeah, indeed. And so you're so you're like so you went to NOLA and you had this discovery, right? Your self discovery and discovery, I guess. And then you now are down this path where this is your passion. Like you're like, look, I want to help the whole person. I want to help particularly that busy person and help them to like have success, have a healthy life. Sounds like, right? This is what I'm getting
Right.
from you. So now where so you mentioned very briefly that you're getting your practice going and so tell us a little bit about that. Like how did you get to that point where you even decided to embark on a journey like that? Because basically what you're saying is you're starting your own business, right? This is what you're saying. And starting your own business is not for the weak of heart. And I'm just saying that lovingly, but it really isn't. And, there is a lot that goes into that. There is a lot of fear that is associated with that. So I'd love it if we could dig into that.
Okay.
Tell us your story. Tell us your story.
So I had no intention of opening my own business when I went to medical school. When I graduated from medical school, in my mind, I was going to be an employed physician. But then that experience in working in that traditional practice, I couldn't really do what I wanted to do in medicine, working for someone else. Like I wasn't calling the shots. I didn't really have any way to push those ideas forward. So that's when I started getting into my head when I started working at that ideal practice that I really loved in New Orleans, that maybe I want to do this for myself because New Orleans wasn't home. I'm actually from Maryland. So I wanted
Okay.
to move home and kind of replicate their model there. But then life happened to me.
Sure.
I came home and started working locum tenens. I ended up working locum tenens for years and having different issues that kept me from starting the practice, different financial issues, different health issues where I had to have
Okay.
surgery and take time off of work, getting turned down for business loans, a lot of different things
Got it.
that kept me
All
from
of the
moving
trials.
forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then the
Yeah.
fear in that is, can I leave this sure job when I'm already having some financial issues to step out and do something that I don't even know if it's going to work.
Wow. That's huge. Now, that right there is huge because that is a position that many people have found themselves in this year, right? So this year has really unveiled some of the chinks in the armor of the House of Medicine. And, you know, we were in a position where colleagues were, their practices like, you know, cut in half at the height of things, or there was an issue with, you know, taking a pay cut. There may have been an issue with, you know, having to just do reductions and into that fear-facing zone and actually doing something that we love and are passionate about and doing our own business. And that's fearful because you're used to getting a paycheck, and now you're doing an endeavor that may or may not provide you with an income. Like, it's questionable whether you're going to have an income from it, and yet still doing it because that's what you're passionate about. So that's amazing. That's amazing. That's an amazing endeavor. That's an amazing lesson. That's an amazing fear to face. And it's one that when you face that fear, which you already have, it pays incredible dividends because you're doing your passion and you're helping other people. So whenever you're paying it forward and you're helping others, the universe, she rewards you greatly. So that's amazing. So kudos for doing that. Kudos.
Look, the kudos is not to me. The kudos is
and
that
so how far along are you
book.
now in the journey?
So the kudos is not to me. I kind of got kicked out on my butt. Like, God told me to move a long time ago and I didn't move.
That you got kicked out of where?
I said I kind of got kicked out on my butt. God told me to move from that job a long time ago and I didn't move. And I got furloughed in March. I was furloughed for like a month and a half. And I was like, oh, okay, is this what it is? So now I have to do something and go. So I picked up a job at an urgent care where my schedule is kind of more flexible. So I'm going to be able to open slowly, a little bit at a time, 2 days first, then 3 days, and gradually ramp it up like that. I won't have to quit all of a sudden and hope it works.
Got it. So, but you still had that push, which is so funny that we have to always have like a little push, right? Like we have to have that thing that says, all right, come on, you've been wanting to do this, just do it, right? Just do it.
Yeah.
Yes, because I mean, I'm sure even with that push, you still felt trepidation. Like you still felt like, man, I don't know, is this gonna work?
Yeah, I had to figure out a different plan.
It's amazing.
Because the initial marketing plan for the clinic was for me to have some in-person cooking classes. The clinic is going to be inside of my childhood church. So I was planning to use like their kitchen and their banquet hall to say, hey, come in, let's do some cooking classes. This is kind of what the clinic is going to be like. And this is what we're going to be focused on: healthy eating and cooking and gardening, etc. But then COVID came. So church is closed. There's no in-person anything.
Right.
So then I had to pivot and figure out how I can do things online.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything that you've been doing related to the business has been online.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Cool. And so if people who are listening are interested in, you know, say for example, attending one of those classes, would they be best suited to go to the Facebook page and check those out, or do you have them on all the platforms?
So they'll be advertised on all the platforms, but to see it, it'll be on Facebook.
On Facebook. Okay, got it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's good to know. All right, and so in case you're interested in that, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, she is at DOCTORJARITA. Okay, so go ahead and check that out because you might learn a thing or two. I think you learn more than a thing or two, but there you go. So Fantastic. Oh my goodness. So many good things coming out. And so let's tell us a little bit about, so we learned about your journey and how you went, how you learned about, alternative medicine and how food can be fuel and medicine. And then you then talked about, stepping out on your own with your practice and how you're going to be ramping up gradually, as things open up. Hopefully we'll expedite that. And then you talked about the first book that you had, right? So the MD Dreams. So now tell us a little bit about how MD Dreams came about. Like what prompted you to write that?
So MD Dreams came about several years ago when I was getting requests from different people to mentor their kids. And
Gotcha.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's so many steps and such a long process in getting into medical school. It's like a whole year's time, even more than a year, trying to get prepared for MCATs and trying to do the application processes and the interviews and the secondary interviews and trying to get research under your belt and this and that. I kind of wanted to put it on paper. And then the other thing is I had a lot of failures leading to medicine, a career in medicine. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get into medical school the first time I applied.
Okay.
And I ended up teaching school and doing a couple of other things until I got in. I got in the second time. And then I failed step one, the board exam, twice.
Gotcha.
So I talk about that in there, about test taking fears. So that was a huge fear for me.
That's a big thing. That's big. Big. Okay, awesome. So that's awesome. So, if people are looking, so this is good, right? Because there's so many times there are books written and there are things put out there that don't at all talk about failures, right? And I don't know if I want to call them failures. They're not really failures, right? They're lessons. That's how I look at them, because I can think of some incredible physicians who failed major tests. Like they may have failed their board exams. They may have failed their board qualification, for their board certification, but they are kick A doctors. Like they do phenomenal medicine and they take care of their patients in a phenomenal fashion. And so, I don't think, and this is my personal opinion, because I have my own issues with standardized testing. I mean, thank goodness, not recently, but I'm saying in the past I did. And so, but we don't always talk about that because we always have this picture that is put out there for people to see. And it's the picture of perfection, right? It's like, okay, yes, I crushed it in college, and then I crushed it in med school, and then I crushed it in my residency, and I'm crushing it as a physician. It's like, come on, really? You never stubbed your toe, you never fell on your face. Like, that's not real. That right there. That's right up there with the just gave birth and still looking like a movie star. Okay. Yeah. That is just not real, because real people have stumbles. Okay. Real people have stumbles, and you actually want someone to have had a stumble. Why? Because the people who have had stumbles, they understand the price that is paid for the thing. They understand that there is work that is put into overcoming, and they appreciate it more, and they're likely to have more of a connection with you than someone who has had it super easy the whole time. Yeah. So, there's that.
And then the thing that really helped me after that second time, my school actually sent me to like a test prep course, and they did review the science material and whatever, but a huge part of the program was mindset stuff. Like getting over the fear of taking standardized tests. They actually had us do a mantra, which I still remember to this day, and had us say multiple times a day. I love taking tests, especially tests that resemble the United States medical licensure exam.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because the thing about it is our minds are super powerful. Our minds can make us or they can break us. And it's never when it comes to those things, there's no way that you're not smart enough, right? There just isn't any way that you're not smart enough, because if you're smart enough to get into medical school, you're smart enough to do everything else. You just are. And so you already established that you have the ability intellectually. It's just usually that as you said, it's a mindset issue. For me, I had a lot of angst, a lot of nerves, and I kind of went in with a defeatist attitude, like, oh, I'm not good at these. Like, no, it's not that you're not good at them. You just don't have the right game face on. You don't have the right mentality about it. That's why. It's not because the information isn't there, because it's there. So yeah, no, that's wild. And you'd be surprised how many people actually have experienced what you and I have experienced, which is essentially success, but having had failures prior to success.
All right. Like, there's a whole series of failures in the book. I didn't match the first time. I ended up going to like a prelim surgery program. There was a whole lot of stuff. It was a bumpy road.
That's okay. Bumpy road or not, you made it through the path, right? And so now the fact that you had a test that made you able to have your testimony, right? So you were able to basically help other people see that the road isn't always smooth and roses. You know, there are bumps in it. And even if there are bumps, you can still accomplish the goal. So that's huge.
Right.
That is huge. Yeah, so I hope everybody's going to go get the book now. Like, if there's someone who's interested in medicine, because it sounds like real talk. It sounds like a book that is literally like real talk, like not sugarcoating. Like, look, here's the deal, and this is what happens if there's a fork in the road and you happen to go one way. You can course correct and go the other. Like, so that's great. That is great.
Yeah, if you can't get in the door, climb in the window.
Exactly. Like, think outside the box. I think a lot of times we just forget that. Like, we forget that, thinking outside the box is how innovation happens, right? This is how you grow the most, right? You see the things that are holding you back. You see the things that maybe you stumble over, you fall over, you face plant with, and then you figure out, well, how can I do this better? How can I get through this? And yeah, it applies to every part of our lives. It's not just our careers, but it really does. Like, that kind of tenacity is very powerful. It's very powerful, and that's what successful people have, is tenacity. Because if you talk to I act like I talked to this person, but I've never talked to them. I just read a lot about them. But like, if you talk to like Steve Jobs. Steve and I are not like, pals or anything. But if you talk to like Steve Jobs, or if you talk to Warren Buffett, or if you talk to any of these highly successful people, they'll tell you they had failure after failure after failure. But the difference is that they looked at that and they said, okay, I'm going to do a root cause analysis of the situation. And what can we learn from this? What can we learn from this particular investment? Why didn't it do well? Or what can we learn from this product? Why wasn't it successful? Or how can we create something that will not just be a product, but will be actually a tribe, a culture, an ethos? Like, that's the kind of thinking that comes out of failure. And so that's what sets people apart when they fail and get back up from the people that fail and just stay down there.
Yeah. Wow. You have setbacks. It doesn't mean that you weren't meant to do what you set out to do. You just need to go a different route. Exactly.
Wow. So thank you for sharing your story. Oh my gosh. I am sure that there are peers of ears out there who are listening to this podcast episode or watching it on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or Periscope, and they are getting the nuggets from your story, and they're probably nodding and saying, oh my gosh, that's me. Like, I really was in that mindset. And you know what? You did it. So I know I can do it. So thank you for being an inspiration, because I'm telling you, you just never realize when you're going through the thing, how much your experience is going to help somebody else. Because it really does. It really does help someone else. So thank you for sharing it.
Thank you for having me. A lot of times the things that happen to us, I think, are not even for us. It's for somebody else to see us picking ourselves up and dusting ourselves off.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So we have been talking for like 30 minutes. Can you believe that? It's been such a good conversation. It's like time just flew by. But we are at that point in the show where we have the fill in the blank. So, Dr. Jarita, are you ready? Are you ready for fill in the blanks?
I think so.
You ready? You're nodding your head? Yeah, okay, all right, good. I want to make sure I get a affirmative before we go on. Okay, so the first one is, if I am fearless, I will.
If I'm fearless, I will change the world and leave my mark.
Love it. Love it. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Fearless freedom means that I'm free to change my mind, that I can change course at any time. Whether I decide to go into a whole different field or I decide to pivot and do the same field in a different way, that I don't have to follow the book that's been set out before me.
Nice, nice. Design your life. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, my battle cry is.
My battle cry. When I wrote MD Dreams, my battle cry for that was never give up. I was in the middle of struggle at that time, but I think now this year my mantra has been go all out.
Go all out. Nice. Nice. Awesome. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to spend time with us in the Fearless Freedom Tribe. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. And just so that I can reiterate where you can be found. So Dr. Jarita can be found on IG, Facebook, Twitter at DOCTORJARITA. So definitely check her out. She's got amazing content. And then if you are interested in the 2 books, the first one is MD Dreams. The second one is Good Food Now. So definitely check those out as well. Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's great to have you on the show. All right. Take care, tribe. We'll see you next time.